What is going on, everybody? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I do apologize. The last live stream that we had, we did have some issues. My daughter, I mean, anybody that has a kid can relate with this. My daughter woke up in the middle of the night kind of screaming, so we closed off the live. I don't know if she was having a bad dream or teeth coming in. I'm not sure. But I have not touched these, and I'm leaving them for whenever we can get to it, whether we open up some more 151 in a regular video or whether we do it Wednesday on our live, which hopefully will go uninterrupted. But I have these, which I haven't even touched here. We're still on that first pack that I opened and didn't go through, so I'm leaving that there. I also have some mail we're going to talk about in the coming days, but my PSA return just came back. I actually had a friend help me out with this and sent these in for me. These actually went in through bulk, so I paid $15 a piece for these cards to be graded. Some of them would have been more expensive than that, but it's pretty cool. Overall, pretty good experience. From what I can tell, nothing looks damaged, but I'm going to review these with you guys, and we're going to go over some of the cards that were in this submission. I have no idea what order these are in, but yeah, we're just going to go over them one at a time. So I'm kind of indifferent to grading. I graded with another friend with CGC. Now we're doing PSA. I don't know. I think I would rather buy cards that are already graded and really high grades and assure that I'm getting exactly what I pay for. But the process itself of grading, I think, can add a lot of value to cards. And it's just nice to protect some cards that you know won't do that well, but you just want to get them protected permanently anyways. And also, you know, grading, especially with PSA, creates a certain market price for these cards. And that helps as well with, you know, valuing these cards. I believe that this is at least a $2,000 return just with these 8 cards. I'm probably wrong on that. But okay. Let's move forward here. All right, so card number 1 is, oh, that is just gorgeous. The Blaine's Charizard. So this is the Blaine's Charizard. Absolutely beautiful. And I'm not sure. Oh, and we got a swirl on the Blaine's Charizard. Look at that. So whether you agree with this or not, for me personally, if a card has a swirl, it adds a lot of value to the card. There are cards that I would buy at full market price just because they have swirls. That's just me personally. Like hollow orbs and swirls, like if there's a big hollow orb right in front of his mouth, I would think that'd be pretty cool. We got a pretty big one up here, but yeah, I picked this guy up in a collection. Those of you that have been watching the channel might even remember when I bought a local collection and got this Blaine's Charizard out of that collection. Now this did get a 6 regardless of grade. I'm just liking seeing these new certs. We're on 83 million right now, so we're going to be at 84 million cert very soon. But this is 83 million. It's in a 6, so it's a freshly graded 6. My friend pointed out that there was some dirt on the back, if you guys can see that, that maybe you should have had my other friend go ahead and take a cleaning to the card just to see if it could have gotten a higher grade. But I don't know if it would have made too much of a difference. It's got some corner wear down here. You've got a little speck of white right here and right here. You've got it right here, I believe. You know, none of the corners are perfect. I was honestly hoping, given how good of condition this card is honestly in, I was hoping that this card, without any creases or dents or anything, I was hoping that this card would score more like a 7 or an 8, potentially. But we'll take the 6. We'll take what we can get. Either way, it's a beautiful card with the swirls. Probably going to stay in my collection, honestly. It's just a graded Charizard card. 6 is not terrible. I'm glad it didn't get a 5, but I definitely think that it does have the potential to be a 7. I mean, the centering is really, really good. I do think that we could resubmit this and actually get a 7, potentially. Will we do that? I don't know. I might just crack it and sell it as raw if I ever get a nicer condition one. But honestly, it's also about the story, right? So I picked this up in a collection, I think, for like $150. The collection had a bunch of other holos that I ended up selling. I think my net on this Charizard was like 90 to 100 bucks at the end of the day. So getting a 6 on that, I think makes it like a $220 card. Still a beautiful card. As you guys can see, the holo itself is in really, really good condition. There's like barely any scratches on it. So I think this card could do better if we gave it a nice little cleanup. And it would be worth it, honestly, to try and go for the 7. Anyways, this is also one of my favorite cards ever. The Blaine's Charizard from Gym Heroes. It's really beautiful. You guys may notice there's a fighting symbol over here. So this is actually an error card. It's a very common error card. It's not a popular, valuable error card. It's just very common. They made a mistake by putting a fighting energy in the Blaine's Charizard where there should be another fire energy symbol right here. And there's a corrected version of this card that has the fire energy. And if it gets graded, you can label that as corrected. I know PSA will actually do that. And that one is actually worth a little bit more. But that is just an amazing Charizard card. It's beautiful. The drawing on it is exceptional. Sugimori killed it on that. All right. And hey, Aspen, how we doing? You guys are going to hear my daughter in the background probably. It's inevitable. All right, so next one coming up. Oh, and it's another beautiful Charizard. This one did better. Here we got an 8. This is a Power Keepers Charizard. Some of you may recognize this card immediately. Oh, and we got the holo orb near the moon. That's pretty cool. Some of you guys may recognize this immediately just because this is the same printed Charizard artwork that is on the Charizard UPC. So that's why it might look relevant to a lot of people. This, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated Charizard cards. It's simple, but it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. And the fact that we got an 8 on it is fantastic. I was honestly thinking we were going to get a 7 on this one. I thought the Blaine's Charizard would surely do better. Being an older card, but I will say, because this card has whitening too on the back of it. I mean, it's got a bunch of just little nicks right here on this corner, and it has a little bit of whitening on each corner, but overall, maybe it is a cleaner card. Maybe it did deserve, the 8 that it got. The centering is really, really good. A lot of good stuff in Power Keepers in general. Awesome set. Definitely vintage. But this is like vintage when vintage was like slightly modernizing, you know, in 2003 to 2007, you know, when WotC changed to Pokemon Co, it's just the cards started looking a little more modern, but they're still vintage. They're still beautiful. I will say I'm a sucker for these hand-drawn arts. I like them a lot. They look really, really good. This is just a beautiful card with the moon in the background. It's just exceptional. So I'm glad we got an 8 on that one. Very nice. The centering is very nice on this card. So that'll definitely be staying in the collection. They'll probably all stay in the collection just because this was a small submission that I only wanted to send cards that I was really confident on. Okay, so I'm honestly not sure how. Okay, that's why I got an 8. Okay, cool. So this is a card that a fan sent to me. I still have this card. I told you I was going to get this card graded. A fan subscriber sent this to me, and I would say friend. So this is the Japanese CD promo Charizard. And as you can see, it's honestly, it's one of the most incredible artworks in the history of Charizard artworks. In my opinion, this is one of the most incredible artworks. And they're not very expensive. Honestly, they're not very expensive. If you can afford to buy this card in an 8 or a 9, even a 7, you know, or even just raw, it is just an exceptional artwork. If you haven't noticed it already, this Charizard CD promo artwork, which I honestly kind of wish this was our base set Charizard. I've gotten so used to the English base set Charizard style, which you can see differentiated between the 2 booster boxes behind me. The art style is the different art styles behind me. You've got the American English version style, which is what we're all used to over here. And then you've got the Japanese art style, which was used for the base set unlimited box, but we never got that artwork. So that is this artwork right here with the CD promo, which, you know, you can see the wings match, the style matches. It's the same Charizard. It's really phenomenal. It's one of my favorite cards of all time. And and I had been looking at this card. Guys, I was looking at this card for a while. Like, I was always like, when are you going to buy it, Orion? You like Charizards. You need to pick up one of these Charizards. So this was sent by Poetry for Some. Some of you guys may know him. He's been on here several times, you know, always in the comments, watching the videos and the lives. You know, big shout out to Poetry for Some for this. This is absolutely stunning. This is beautiful. And yeah, I'm really happy that this card got an 8. That's a really strong grade for this card, in my opinion. And at first I thought this is a factory error. This is like a factory white blotch error. It's not damage to the card or anything. It's just a factory error. It's not it's not what you would think. So I think it's actually pretty cool that it has this like weird error on it. But what knocked it for the 8? Some of you might be thinking, well, Japanese cards usually grade easier. What got it the 8? Well, as you can see, the centering is perfect. The corners are good. But up here, right here, where my finger is, we've got some whitening that's pretty evident. And it goes through the middle of the card, multiple spots, not just a little bit here and there. That probably, if it was just a little bit, like before it starts getting to larger whitening, it probably could have been a 9, but with that extra bit of whitening on there, I think that knocked it to an 8. Honestly, because I can't see anything else. I know PSA probably didn't knock this white speck. They probably noticed that that's a part of the print. And the holo is exceptional. The holo doesn't have any wear on it at all. Again, this was in Poetry's personal collection for a long time. Or at least I'm pretty sure it was in his personal collection for a long time. Dug it up, heard me talking about the card, or heard me talking about, you know, how much I love Charizards. And how, you know, I don't think that makes me a basic collector. You know, yes, Charizard is probably overrated, and it's one of the most sold Pokemon cards of all time. Right there with Pikachu, Mewtwo, Blastoise, Lugia. But, you know, I honestly just think Charizard's one of the coolest things ever. So this is just an absolutely beautiful card, and I'm really glad I got to give it some serious screen time. And it got that 8. It got that 8. So we got 2 Charizards that got 8s. That's huge. Like, yes, we could have gotten 9s. They would have been far more valuable, but at the same time, like, this Power Keepers Charizard, I picked this up for like $50. So this was a sick move that this got an 8. The Blaine's Charizard, still in a 6, has got to be worth at least $200 or $180. I picked that up for $100. There's value made in each one of these, which is very important to me. But I also love that they're now encapsulated, protected, and some of these will just be staying in the collection for a long time. All right, next up, because I'm taking too long on this. Oh, beautiful. And I needed one of these. I sold a lot of my Charizards at Collecticon, and recently I've been unloading a lot of my Charizard cards. A lot of these are probably just going to stay in the collection. But I'm really hoping, I told you guys, at 5,000 subscribers, we are going to open up one of those base set heavy packs. I told you we're going to do it. I probably am going to regret it, but I told you we were going to do it, even if we don't pull a Charizard. But either way, even if I don't, this card is exactly what I think every collector, deep down, every 90s baby collector, this is the card that we all want the most. In my opinion, I'm also a huge Charizard fan. This was a large kind of Charizard submission, but we have a base set Charizard, and it got a PSA 7. Honestly, I'm very happy with it. It's a modern cert. It's an 8.3 cert, freshly graded. You know, this card is exceptional, but I honestly didn't think I would have any Charizards that honestly got a 7 or 8. Even though from the front, this one looks like it could have done even better than that. Maybe even gotten a 9. Honestly, this card is gorgeous. Yeah, I had one Charizard that I didn't even realize was this clean. But this thing is clean. Like honestly, why didn't this card get a better grade? Why this card should have gotten an 8. We've got one little nick here. Maybe like we've got like no wear whatsoever on this card. I don't understand how. This is probably one of honestly my favorite cards for the price point that I own right now currently, because I know that I put at least 100 to maybe 120 max into each Charizard card that I owned. So I know there was one that I bought for like 240 and I just sold it for exactly that much. So there was one Charizard that I kind of overpaid for because I wanted to grade it, and that ended up going poorly. But most Charizards, it seems like all the other ones I got would either get 5, 6, or 7. And this is the highest graded base unlimited Charizard I've got to date. It's in such good condition. I just don't understand. I don't understand how this card only got a 7. I just don't get it. Look at the holo, guys. This thing is crispy. Maybe some silvering. I see maybe some silvering at the top there. Well, look at that holo. Absolutely incredible. So this is definitely one of the pinnacle cards in my collection now. I know it's basic, I know it's boring, but for me, just having a base set Charizard and PSA 7, I think that makes it like a $350 Charizard card. I think a PSA 8 right now is running for like $400, $500. PSA 9's $1,000, I believe. So yeah, PSA 7 is nothing to sneeze at for this card, and Charizard cards are super liquid. People are always trying to collect them. And at some point when I finish bigger collection goals of mine, like the gold stars, crystals, shinings, I think I want to get back to what I love most, which is honestly just collecting Charizard cards. Everybody has their thing, and like for me, it's definitely the Charizard. Charizard's just a sick Pokemon. I just love it. It just never gets old for me. So that was a 7. So we got a 6, 7, and 2 8s. And then we have this card, which I pulled this card live on stream. Some of you may remember the channel was much smaller, probably had like 1,000 or 1,500 subscribers or something. But we pulled this card, which is pretty cool in my opinion, to pull a Charizard card on stream, get to share that with you guys, and have it be a vintage card. It's pretty special. This card did do very well. We have the Topps movie Charizard in a PSA 9 with that fresh cert. Now, I honestly cannot believe this card only got a 9. If this card got a 10, it would have been far more valuable. Now, keep in mind, I bought, I think, 10 Topps packs in a collection buy. I spent $400 for a collection. In that collection, there was like 10 or 15 Topps packs, and we've opened, I want to say we opened all of them, but I might have a few more still. I might have a few more still in my collection. I feel like I sold them. I feel like I sold them at the convention, but I don't remember. Either way, I think it was okay to let go of those because we did get a Charizard card in here, and it did end up getting a 9, which doesn't really add so much value to it, but it was $5 a Topps movie pack. And I am definitely going to go looking for those Topps movie packs here shortly, just because like the Topps movie packs are so cool. I think I sold them off though. I think I did, just because, you know, with what I had in them, $5 a pack, it just made more sense. I think I sold them for 15 a pack, and I had like 8 to 10 left that I hadn't opened on the channel. But I'm glad that we got this one, especially being a Charizard fan. You know, there's a good chance that I could have gotten nothing in the rest of those Topps movie packs. So I'm glad that I at least, and then there's still other cards that I have that I haven't graded. I think I have a Blastoise as well. But yeah, I just graded this because it's a Charizard card, and it got a 9, which is pretty sick. And this is kind of like the first full arts that we ever had, you know? Like the Topps cards are kind of literally the first full arts that we ever had, because you're getting the full art of Charizard right here in one whole card. It's phenomenal. So yeah, that, I'm very happy we got that. Like that is, it's just such a freaking cool, like to have the full Charizard on a card. Like, dude, those Topps movie packs are super underrated. Super underrated. Okay. Yeah, I forgot how great this submission was. I was very particular about what we said in the submission, minus maybe 2 cards. All right, so we got the Pikachu from Crown Zenith, and it did get a 10. Now, unfortunately, for me, Crown Zenith lately has been getting crushed. So I sent this maybe a month or so ago, month and a half ago, when Crown Zenith was a little bit stronger than what it is now. This was one of the hypest cards that you could pull in the set right off the rip. I think it was a $30 card right when the set dropped. People were really wanting this card. They were selling at all-time highs. That card has dropped since then, and now I think you can get a PSA 10 for like 20 bucks or something. I've got one listed that's raw on eBay, but I'm literally waiting until the market changes and this becomes a card that'll be worth what I think it should be worth. And either way, this is a PSA 10 Pikachu. Like, this thing is awesome. All the artwork in here is awesome. All the Pokemon in the background is awesome. It's just a phenomenal card. And the fact that it got a 10 makes me really happy. This, like, Crown Zenith and Evolving Skies, Silver Tempest with the Lugia, Brilliant Stars with the Charizard, Chilling Rain with the Blaziken. There's a couple really important sets, and Crown Zenith Pikachu Secret Rare is definitely one of those cards out of these sets that I don't care what it's worth right now. This is just a phenomenal card to get in a 10, and I love it. And I'm really happy that it got a 10. It's just a beautiful looking card. Okay, up next, here we go. I have no idea. Oh, okay. So I bought this card in a shop a long time ago. I bought this card in a shop, I think, for like 30 bucks. And I told you guys that when I was getting back into collecting modern stuff, it was Sun and Moon era. It was Sun and Moon era. Or when I was collecting vintage still, it was Sun and Moon era. Yes, yeah. So I was still going after vintage cards, collecting Pokemon theme decks, and Sun and Moon was a thing still. I think it was the tail end of Sun and Moon. I want to say it was around Cosmic Eclipse era, maybe. I think so. But I remember it was the tail end because there were only a couple cards left in the shops. Or this was at Second and Charles, which is kind of like a bookshop. But there are only so many of those cards left at that time. I didn't see a lot of them. And I thought they're kind of weird because of the certain yellow borders that Sun and Moon cards have. Now we love them and they've become much more popular. And I'm much more knowledgeable about the hobby now than I was before. But at that time, I wasn't that interested in a lot of Sun and Moon cards. But this card spoke to me and I had to have it. I am a huge Pikachu Charizard fan. Just like the Crown Zenith Pikachu, very important to me. This card I feel like is one of the most important cards in Cosmic Eclipse. I believe it's the Secret Rare too. So these kind of go hand in hand. It is the Secret Rare Pikachu with Ash. Absolutely gorgeous card. Like, these cards look so good next to each other too. Like, absolutely beautiful cards. We had some Charizards in this sub. We had a Pikachu in the sub. Yeah, Cosmic Eclipse Secret in a 9, 8-3 cert. It's just off center. It couldn't have 10'd because it was just off center. They were not, I mean, they could have given it a 10 maybe, but let's check the back. I don't think there's any wear on the back. Yeah, the back is really well centered and super clean. So, you know, this one got knocked because of the centering. You know, this is an important lesson for anybody wanting to send a card that's like flawless, but it doesn't have good centering. You're probably not going to get the 10 for that. And you really want to send cards that you think you can get a 10 on. I mean, honestly, I think that's the main goal for anybody sending in modern cards, is to try and get that 10. Regardless, this card is just beautiful. This is a beautiful card. It looks awesome. It's fun. It's got Ash and Pikachu in there. And yeah, it's just fantastic. All right. And I want to say at a 9, it's worth 50. Okay. Okay, what do we have here? Okay, this card is a big deal. So this card's story, I picked this card up. I put a post on Facebook that I was looking to buy old Pokemon collections that people didn't want. Specifically stuff that people didn't want that they're not going to be sentimental about. So I ended up, a guy came over with a box full of disheveled Pokemon cards. Nothing was organized or in order. And I went through it and right off the bat was like, I'll give you 60 bucks for it. And this is at a time where I was just buying random stuff and didn't really know exactly what I was looking for, but wanted to buy it anyways. After I had bought it from him, shortly after I had bought it from him and we'd agreed on the deal, he was like, so like, honestly, do you see anything in there? Is there anything good in here? Like, I don't care if you got a good deal on a card. Like, I'm curious. And I was like, yes, there is one thing that's in here that's good. I don't know how it'll grade, but I know that they're definitely important. Now, at this time, I knew the Pokemon Gold Stars were popular and somewhat expensive, but I knew that that was for a high-graded version of those cards. I knew that a card that I just pulled out of a shoebox probably was not going to get that great of a grade. That is this card here. It is a Gold Star Pokemon card. Now, it ended up getting a pretty good grade in terms of what I thought it might get. I was hopeful that it would get an even higher grade than it has now. I was hoping it might slip through the cracks of the grading system and maybe just get a slightly higher grade. I think that it still deserves it. It's a very beautiful card. I had this card ungraded for a while after I bought it, and I'm really glad I ended up getting it slabbed up. There was one of these recently on eBay in a PSA 9 for $830 is what it sold for. I really wanted this card in a PSA 9, but the value of picking this card up in a collection buy for $60 total for everything, which means technically I got this card for even less because I sold other stuff in that collection buy. But even at the total upfront cost of $60, getting this card, finding it, the story of all that, getting it graded, all that stuff is super important and has led me to this card today. To this point of getting it graded and having this card in my collection, that I think I'm not even going to go after a PSA 9 in this card. I think I'm just going to keep it for the story itself and the sentimental value, the nostalgia of like, I found an old card in 2022 that was worth potentially hundreds of dollars raw, and I found it, picked it up in a collection for $60. That's huge. And this is like a popular, well-known card that sells for a decent chunk of change. This is not like a niche thing where it's like, maybe you can get that much from it, but you have to get very lucky to find a particular buyer. Everybody and their mom pretty much knows what Gold Stars are in the Pokemon hobby. If you don't, I would highly recommend looking into them, although they are pricey and no one seems to be able to budge on prices. Okay, sorry I've been talking your ear off, but this card's very special to me. The Gold Star Alakazam. Absolutely stunning card. Look at that surface. Like from sitting in a shoebox, I have no idea how it ended up being in the condition that it was in. Really, really good condition. There's like no silvering on the card whatsoever. The centering is really good. I want to say that there's a swirl in here somewhere, but I'm not entirely sure if there is. We're going to try and find it. Or I'm going to try and find it here in a second when I look for it. But I just wanted to show you guys this card. This is a beautiful stance that Alakazam has in this card in particular. It did get a PSA 7, which kind of puts it at being a $300, maybe a $400 card. But again, my cost into this card was so cheap. The story behind it is so cool that this is kind of a sentimental card for me. It has, the brand new cert, which is important to me. It's that 83. Like it just feels right. Like getting a freshly graded Grail card feels right. And I'd kind of forgotten about this card after a while, but this card is now one less card that I'll be going after in my Gold Star collection that I can say that I actually picked up and found in the wild on my own. And honestly, it's one of the best Gold Stars of all time, in my opinion. Like, this card is just sick. This card is absolutely sick. And there is a swirl, which is pretty awesome. We've gotten a good bit of swirls out of these that I've noticed. But there's a swirl right above his head. I'm not sure if it will show it in any way, but there's a swirl right above. You might be able to see that. There's a swirl right above Alakazam's head. Really hard to see, but it's there, guys. It's there. Yeah, you guys should be able to just barely make it out right there. There's a swirl right above his head. It's much more obvious for me. I wish I could get the proper lighting on it. But yeah, huge card here. I'll show you guys the back. The back is pretty damn good. It has one corner really that they knocked it on. But it's a rough corner. So this corner right here, it's got a lot of whitening on that corner, right? But then you look at this corner, perfect. You look at these corners, perfect. Like it really seems like it was factory flawed in that sense, because it's weird that the other corners are just absolutely perfect. Maybe this was the corner of it that was wedged into the box. I don't know, but it's absolutely exceptional and one less Gold Star for me to have to track down. Okay, last but not least, literally forgotten what this is. Oh, I know what this is. So, like I was saying, the cards from some of the most iconic Sword and Shield sets, these alt arts that are just very popular, these are cards you really want to hit a high grade. There are so many of them out there. The populations are really, really high on these cards. They'll arguably come down in value a lot, But these are the cards that you really don't want to get a 9 on, because if you get a 9, they're essentially raw value. Where if you get a 10, you actually definitely maximize value or double value with these cards and what they're priced at. So this is probably, this is a tough one. I feel like between the Sword and Shield Blaziken from Chilling Reign, the Charizard from Brilliant Stars, which value aside, I don't care that the Charizard from Brilliant Stars has taken a huge hit recently. It's between that one. The Lugia is pretty good too from Silver Tempest, but I think it's between the Charizard, the Umbreon from Evolving Skies, and the Rayquaza from Evolving Skies. And if you guys don't already know this, it should be kind of known just from the intro that I have on this channel. My two favorite Pokemon arguably might be Groudon and Rayquaza. So this is a very special card to me. This card is from Evolving Skies. Very popular card when it came out. I honestly did not think this card was going to get a 10. I just wanted it slabbed. But now both cards that I purchased, because I did not pull my Umbreon or my Rayquaza, but both cards I purchased got a 10. So I'm very, very happy about that. Definitely maximized value. I think I have 220 in this card. So I think in a PSA 10, it's around maybe 500. I think somewhere in that area, maybe more than that. But yeah, Rayquaza alternate art. Absolutely epic. And honestly, I'm not a huge fan of this card, mainly because of the VMAX clouds. I really don't like the VMAX clouds. If it didn't have the VMAX clouds, it would be so much cooler in my opinion. But the more I look at this card, the more I like it, the more I appreciate it. I haven't had it for so long, and it's so amazing now to have this and the Umbreon. Let's see. Nope, that's the wrong briefcase. Sorry, guys. But I gotta do it. Here it is. These cards are two of the most special cards, arguably, from Sword and Shield era. These are the cards that people probably want the most when they think about Sword and Shield era. The Umbreon, the Moonbreon, and the Rayquaza, both in PSA 10. These are bangers together. Absolute bangers together. I like how they're facing different directions too. So very, very happy to have that in my collection. And now, because I got some of these cards back, particularly the Charizard in a PSA 7, I'm also considering maybe I don't need these other Charizards from CGC, or maybe I'll even crack these cards from CGC and still send them to PSA at some point. Maybe I'll even put these up. You guys might find these up on the eBay. I don't know. It's just the fact that I have a 7 now. There's really no point to have my CGC grades. But they are both really nice cards, and I'm in them relatively cheap. So grading has, in the long run, it's worked out pretty nicely, I think. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review of just a couple of the cards that I sent off to PSA with a friend. I'm very happy about the grades. I'm very happy that they got in through bulk submission, and that I didn't really pay a surcharge on anything. I'm very happy about the grades we got back. Anyways, thank you guys for watching the video. I know it's been a couple days. Work has been crazy. Work has been super demanding. And I'm really looking forward to opening some more 151. And also, we have a mail day video coming up. I am getting a little bit closer to my collection goals. And we're going to talk about that on that mail day. Anyways, peace out, guys. Have a great day.